Thank you, Dave, and hello, everybody. Hello, Canada. Saturday night football here in McMahon Stadium. Beautiful night, 22 degrees. It is blowing and gusting. Calgary Stampeders in red and the Hamilton Tiger Cats in white, black, and gold.
That's good.
Nick Lewis is the leading receiver of the Calgary Stampeders, playing on a bad heel last couple of weeks, and on the other sideline, it's Dave Stala that's leading the way for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 5 touchdowns on the season already for Stala.
Enjoy it.
Marcel Belfay and the Hamilton Tiger Cats got off to a tough start, have rolled off 3 straight wins. John Hufnagel a little grumpy after his team's start. They are 3-2 this season, both losses coming at home. They say there is no place like home except if you're the Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. The Calgary Stampeders, their 3 wins all on the road.
Stamps coming off a win against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And back for Hamilton, the rookie, Chris Williams and Marcus Thigpen, who was Mr. Return last year in the CFL. Here is the kick. And here we go tonight. 2 3-2s doing battle, east and west. And Thigpen brings it out near the 28-yard line. And Kevin Glenn will bring out his offense, and he is on a serious roll.
Well, he has. He hasn't thrown a touchdown the last 3 games. 7 interceptions, 7 touchdowns in that time. Avon Colburn's in the backfield, 5.2-yard average for him. There's a receiving core, a couple of newcomers there, not new to the team, but new to the starting lineup, and that's Aaron Kelly and Glenn McKay. There's the offensive line with Jason Jimenez at right tackle, Belton Johnson at left tackle.
Starting lineups brought to you by Rona, proud partner of the CFL and its 8 teams. 1st and 10. Handoff to Avon Colburn. Quickly wrapped up and brought back. 2-yard pickup here.
Defensively for the Calgary Stampeders, Charleston Hughes off to a great start to the season. 3 sacks for him. He's added 9 tackles. Also involved on the special teams, which almost unheard of for a defensive lineman. Robert McCune will play his 2nd game at middle linebacker. A good one last week against Saskatchewan with 5 tackles. And Jeff Tisdale, former Hamilton Tiger Cat, playing his old team.
Throwing down here, Dave Stala has been Mr. Second Down for the Tiger Cats. Again, 3 rookie receivers for the Cats. Glenn to the far sideline in the sunshine, looking for Dave Stala. Unable to convert, so a quick 2 and out. And I guess we should also mention this is Life AB for the Hamilton Tiger Cats after Bruce.
Yes, absolutely. And which of these receivers step up and play? We know what Chris Williams has done. Dave Stala is off to a great start to his season. More on him as this game goes on. But you're right, it's life without Arland Bruce, who's now a PC line.
That kick almost blocked. Larry Taylor only averaging 5.7 yards on his punt returns, and he's quickly swallowed up at his 35-yard line on a 47-yard kick from Justin Medlock. Henry Burris back to work, coming off a win last week. And his 3-2 Stampeders.
Behind him will be, of course, starting in the backfield, Joffrey Reynolds. Joffrey's touches down from even a year ago, where John Hufnagel said last year that they wanted to reduce his workload a little bit. They've done it more here. No Kenyon Rambo in the receiving corps for the Calgary Stampeders. Landon Talley will play for him, and Gerald Cadigan is out. Tony Washington in at left tackle.
Protecting the blind side of Burris, who goes to the air right away. Pitches it out to Larry Taylor. Markeith Knowlton, just his 14th tackle for the most outstanding defensive player from a year ago. And, you know, they've got such a terrific linebacking core. As we take a look at their D, they're really led by their 3 outstanding linebackers.
And they want a little bit more out of Stevie Baggs. Hasn't had a sack in the last 3 games, but you're right. There's Jamal Johnson. He has been making the tackles. Not Knowlton, but Johnson has. He came into this week 31, tied for the league lead. A couple changes in the secondary. Daniel Francis at safety, and Shivers moves to halfback.
Throwing down again, Burris has time. Look out now. Henry Burris scrambles out of the pocket. He's got some running room. He decides to throw. Johnny Fusami hauls it in Hamilton territory. And Henry Burris making something out of a whole lot of nothing there.
Really did, all with his legs, buying time with his eyes down the field, and that's the key for Henry Burris on this play. And a big first down to get some momentum for the Calgary Stampeders out of the gate, and that is to move around in the pocket, but with your eyes downfield. So he's always ready to throw, gets out there to the outside, finds Forzani in the scramble rules. He was a deep route, but he came back when he saw his quarterback in trouble.
22-yard pickup. Pitch to Joffrey Reynolds, left side. Look out! Brought down at the 40, but not after a first down. From the star tailback of the Calgary Stampeders, their all-time leading rusher peels off 13.
Good start and balance important. They're coming off the Stampeders in that win against Saskatchewan. Their best running game of the year offensively. They had 140 yards rushing, just 57 from Joffrey Reynolds, who, as I mentioned, his touches are down a little bit, but in the overall running game, it was their best balance offensively.
Daniel Francis, former Rough Rider, free safety tonight, made the tackle. Finally, Knowlton brings him down, and the streak continues for Nick Lewis.
Quick hitter for Henry Burris. He's just going to take this shotgun snap and quick hitter to his right. Doesn't allow that defensive line even to get upfield very far, and you got to tackle Nick Lewis. You can't, and what I mean by that, don't just throw your shoulder pad in there and hope that he'll go down.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, you're playing him. You got to wrap him up.
128 straight games with a catch now for Nick Lewis. Burris again behind cover. And over the top, Larry Taylor spun. He'll score the first touchdown of this game. Explosive start for the Calgary Stampeders. Their first series, Henry Burris to Larry Taylor, 25-yard touchdown.
Great recognition for the veteran and Henry Burris. He sees the line of scrimmage with all those Hamilton Tiger Cats up there wanting to send pressure, and they don't get pressure. That leaves Markeith Knowlton one-on-one on Larry Taylor, who gets inside position, and then it's goodbye. Touchdown Taylor easily with no safety help.
Little souvenir for Larry Taylor, his first touchdown as a Calgary Stampeder. Might have thought it would have come on a return. Over the top, touchdown Calgary, 7-0 Horses.
That's for the family down the flight right now.
Yards. That includes, of course, his return yardage. And more as this season goes on, Larry Taylor's been involved in the offense. Gets his first touchdown tonight.
Marcus Thigpen again, and Chris Williams. Rene Paredes with a kick. Back to Thigpen, looking for a seam and nowhere to go. Down he goes near the 20-yard line. Good coverage again from the Calgary special teams.
Let's take a look at that touchdown again, and the gamble that you take when you send pressure. I'll show the Hamilton Tiger Cats 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the line, and that 7th is the safety Daniel Francis coming off the edge, so no safety in the middle. So what that means now is that the middle is void. The middle is void, and Taylor goes right through that hole and gets inside position on one-on-one on the Markeith Knowlton matchup, and is in the end zone.
First time this season, the Stampeders, on their first possession, are able to drive for a touchdown. Chris Williams, fabulous freshman down the sidelines, a big play. And that's what Chris Williams can do for you. And this is one of the reasons that Arland Bruce became expendable in Hamilton.
No question. And when you look at Chris Williams' body of work over a few games now, 300 yards, leading the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I asked Kahari Jones, I said, do you have a play package just for Chris Williams? He said, yeah, amazing. He gave me this smile saying, usually it takes a receiver a year or two to get his own play package. In 3 games, we've got a play package for Chris Williams.
Not too shabby from the former star of New Mexico State. What a debut. First down for Hamilton. The first of the game. Darcy Brown, former St. Mary's Husky, bowls his way to the midfield stripe. A 13-yard pickup. Back-to-back first downs.
Boy, Kevin Glenn, what a turnaround for him. And good conversation again with Kahari about Kevin Glenn and how he in his last 3 games has really come on. I mean, this offense is on a roll. He has not thrown an interception. He has got 7 touchdowns. Look at the difference between the first 2 losses and the 3 wins in a row. Night and day offensively.
Coburn. 2-yard pickup brought down by Darren Stone.
I asked Blackie the reason for it, you know, to Kahari Jones, and basically he said, well, first of all, credit goes to that offense, the personnel. They're making the plays they need to make, but he quickly said, you know, I'm on the right page now with Kevin Glenn. He said in the first couple of games, I was listening to a lot of people give me input. Wasn't really calling the game that Kevin Glenn and I wanted to call. He said, now we feel like we're meshed together and we're in sync.
Glenn threads the needle. Dave Stala's first catch of the night. Talk about outstanding.
Oh, boy.
And maybe that Kevin Glenn, Kahari Jones relationship, you know, it's not that it's a new one. They worked together once before as a teacher and a mentor when they played together.
No, without question. And I asked him, I said, are you going to allow Kevin Glenn to call his own plays? He said, you know, we don't have to. We're not doing that right now. And Kahari Jones, by the way, when he was in Winnipeg, the only year that for the full season that he called his own plays as a starting quarterback was in the year 2000 in Winnipeg. He said he was okay with it, comfortable with it. Right now, he likes what's going on. He calls him on the sideline, but is willing to go with whatever Kevin Glenn. If he gets a gut feeling about a play or a package, he'll go with Kevin's gut feeling. He says, I defer to the guy on the field if it becomes, you know, which play should we call?
Look at those numbers. Kevin Glenn, monster season last year, 5,106 yards. Dave Stala, another catch, his first of the night, playing in his 100th career game here tonight. First and 10 from the Calgary 45. Glenn has protection. Look out now. He has to throw it away. The pocket quickly closed up.
Justin Phillips kept working. I mean, he's getting more time to play with Robert McCune, who's moved back to middle linebacker spot. Kevin Glenn had some time initially, but this is the secondary that gets credit for Calgary on this, because he could have thrown it there, didn't have an open man, and then Justin Phillips gets home.
Fifth-year player from Ottawa, played with Wilfrid Laurier. They won a Vanier Cup, of course. Great to have a Canadian rush end like Justin Phillips. Second down, throwing down. Glenn stands in, sideline. Knocked away. Close coverage on the corner from Brandon Smith on Chris Williams.
Talked a lot about Jeff Tisdale, but Brandon Smith here in Calgary is getting a lot of press. I mean, bottom line being that he's performed. He's been asked to be in those tough matchups, the #1 receiver for the opposition, and he leads the team in tackles after 5 weeks.
So Justin Medlock, the CFL Special Teams Player of the Month, a 52-yard attempt here.
Longest 55 this year in his range.
Has the wind behind him. Here's the hold, here's the kick. It is up, it is good. What a leg. Justin Medlock.
Gibson's finest. Player of the month.
Finest. That's why right there. Cats on the board in Calgary. In his first season. And you can see the points in the first quarter for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Their quick starts. Calgary Stampeders has been another story.
Yeah, well, it's one of the reasons that the Hamilton Tiger Cats are on a 3-game win streak. They get off to a good start, take a lead, and take it home.
Medlock with that left foot, 52-yard field goal. Now 13 of 14 on the season, sends Larry Taylor back inside his end zone. Taylor has already scored the only touchdown. Slices his way to the 25-yard line.
Henry Burris 4 for 4 on his first drive of the game, finishing off with that Larry Taylor touchdown. He had 61 yards, which means he's closing fast on Tom Clements for 8th overall in the Canadian Football League.
There might be a lot of youngsters out there who are rabid CFL fans who may not know some of the names like Tom Clements. When Tom Clements played in this game, he was one of the very, very best.
Without question. I'm old enough to have played against him.
Double tight end.
You're not that.
40.
No, I don't. I just look at
one of the greatest passes ever. Now Burris passing. Open guys. Forzani. Johnny Forzani brought down by Ryan Hines. A touchdown saving tackle.
Johnny Forzani has been more productive as the season has evolved. Started out slow, had a couple of drop issues. He came in from the right side wide receiver position, came all the way down to give himself so much more room from outside the numbers to the sideline. He had lots of room for Burris to lay it out there.
8 plays now, all time. Henry Burris. Very close to a first down. So smiling Hank, something to smile about. You just passed one of the CFL legends.
You mentioned 32 yards away, and he throws a 45-yard pass to Johnny Forzani and moves into 8th place all time. And there is Tom Clements at 39,041 yards.
One of the greatest plays ever was, of course, performed by Tom Clements to Tony Gabriel to win a Grey Cup for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Later played with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers as well and won a Grey Cup.
You just lost a whole bunch of Saskatchewan Rough Rider fans reminding me of that.
Sorry about that. Handoff inside. You know, on second down and short yardage.
You know, Ryder, watching Drew Tate back after they just released Michael Bishop, and Drew Tate is now healthy again and back at that number 2 spot. He'll play short yardage, had the shoulder issue, and is now back in the roster. They were able to release Bishop because of it. Sinopoli will still be the holder on field goals.
First down and 10. Forzani at the top of your screen. Henry Burris. Reynolds stays into block. Burris, time, far sideline. Broken route there, and I don't think Johnny Forzani could see it in the sun.
Yeah, he couldn't see it. He's looking at it right now. He's saying,
I need a visor. Where are my shades?
He turned around and could not find the football. I mean, that's what he's looking at as he turns around, and if the ball is hidden in there somewhere, he has no shot. It's like an outfielder in baseball that loses it in the sun, and it kind of, he stood there, just whistled right by him. He's looking the opposite direction. You couldn't see it either.
That's high def. First incompletion for Burris after going 6 for 6. Second and 10. Deep drop, flinging it out. Jabari, did he make that catch? Yes, he did. It's a touchdown. Lost his lid, made the grab. The Cats are protesting. Let's take a look to see if there might be a challenge. What do you think, Suits?
Well, we'd have to take a look and see whether or not he trapped it, but I don't know what's better, if he did catch it, the catch or the throw. Because pressure in the face of Henry Burris, he almost flicked it with his wrist, loses his helmet at the other end. Now, did he pin it against the turf?
Wow. They're going to line up for that extra point, but not seen. There is the challenge flag at the 30th yard line. So we will see if that will hold up. They'll take it back to the command center. Our referee tonight is Murray Clark. Tom Higgins, director of officiating, is here tonight, so not in the command center. This all is hinging on Jabari Arthur's potential first touchdown of his career.
And he'll have to wait.
Hamilton is challenging the ruling on the field. The completed pass for a touchdown. We will review the play.
And take one more look at this, but you know, when I saw that replay, it looked like he may have pinned that ball against the turf, and I'm just talking about the end of the football here. He has it in his hands there. Now, the question there is, did he get his arm or hand underneath it, and it wasn't the ball that touched, but his hand or arm that touched. Ball turns, top of the football. I think the top of the football touched the ground. If you back that up and freeze it right there, and that, I think that ball, the end of that football touched the ground, and this is coming back. Because you've got to survive contact, as spectacular as that was.
That was spectacular.
After review,
here it is.
Pass is incomplete.
Incomplete.
Third down.
Well, Jabari Arthur's going to have to wait for his first touchdown. He thought he had it. Come on, come on. But it will not count.
Well, it was so spectacular from both ends. I mean, first of all, to go completely horizontal like Jabari Arthur had to do to just get his hands on that ball, let alone catch it, and then make it that close. But a good challenge by Marcel Belfait. He saw something, took a look, and sure enough, the tip of that football touched the ground.
Often they'll get the call from upstairs, and you have to wait for the replay for the spotters and the coaches upstairs to get it, to be able to see it right away like that. You're right, an excellent challenge. And there it is from the 35-yard line to restore a 7-point lead. Splits the uprights. Successful.
He's back 4 for 5 last week.
10 of 14 on the season. 10-3 Stampeders. Mobile TV, and the Alouettes winning against Toronto the other night. The Eskimos losing last night in Swaggerville in Winnipeg. And Jabari Arthur still thinks he made that catch.
There was a correct call. Correct call was made by the officials. A good challenge from Marcel Belfait, and I know that Jabari Arthur's upset, but the right call was made.
Hamilton back to work. Glenn looking for Aaron Kelly. And he has his 4th catch of the season on the far sideline. 26-yard pickup. A lot of big play throws so far from the Tiger Cats.
Yeah, they're going down the field, pushing the ball. That was a corner route to the wide field, so it gave Aaron Kelly from Clemson all kinds of room to run his corner. And he gets that outside leverage on Keon Raymond. Nice throw and catch. Aaron Kelly getting a chance to play because Maurice Mann is not quite ready.
Ticats with some freak injuries, certainly. Man, back of his heel on a door. And an interference call coming here, a late flag. Glenn looking in on a slant pattern, and the Stampeders flagged, it looks like, for illegal contact interference here.
We may see a few more of these slants. Prior to the pass being thrown, illegal contact on a receiver, Calgary number 25. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Because of the style of defense that Calgary plays in their secondary, and they play up and physical and in your face, a couple of options for receivers with that style of defense is this kind of play, a slant to the inside, trying to get inside leverage, or a straight go run, fade run. Chris Jones, the defense coordinator, is going to play bump and run. Likes to get in your kitchen.
Yes, he does. Bengals pots and pans. Williams, haven't seen much of that from this prized rookie so far. You talked about Mo Mann being out again. He cut the back of his heel on the back of a door at Iverwin Stadium and has been out for a few games now and is starting to get himself back into shape. No Arland Bruce, so you have this troika of first-year receivers under Kevin Glenn tonight.
Well, and what's interesting about it, and why Arland Bruce is now a BC Lion, or one of the reasons, is that a guy like Marquay McCandless can't get in the lineup. I mean, that's the type of depth they all of a sudden have, and some good young talent.
That says something. McDaniel scratched here tonight down the sideline and trying to lay out for it and unable to make the catch. Bakari Grant, and there is another flag down at the 4-yard line.
And it'll be pass interference, and it's a good call. I watched that play from start to finish, saw Bakari Grant heading down the rail, and it was a couple of tucks.
Forward pass interference. Calgary number 29. Ball spotted at the point of the foul. First down.
Former Cat Jeff Tisdale, the guilty culprit
One-on-one. Right at the top, you see that aggressive man. Now, I think they're going to let the first one go right there, but there was another one, and you could see that second pull lasted about 5 yards in the go route right down the rail, and that's going to get called. His jersey over top of his shoulder pad, 31 yards.
Cats sniffing the end zone down. Two interference calls, and almost a pickoff. Looking for Williams, and right there is Brandon Isaac dropping back in coverage.
Brandon Isaac's versatility allows the Calgary Stampeders to do this. He often will line up at the linebacker spot. He can run on the blitz. He can cover a receiver out of the backfield, and occasionally they'll roll him back to the middle, free him up, and let him go to the football. And that's just great range for Brandon Isaac.
Hamilton done pretty well in the red zone this season. 11 for 15 for touchdowns. And they have another. And guess who? Dave Stala. What a start to his season. He has now matched his career total for a season, which was last year, his 6th touchdown in only his 6th game this year.
Well, he came in a three-way tie for the lead in touchdowns, and that's just not receiving touchdowns. That's overall touchdowns. And he is money. I mean, this guy makes the clutch catch, whether it be for a first down, whether it be for a touchdown. Dave Stala makes the catch that this team needs.
That's what I'm talking about. Chris,
Breakout year last year.
That's what he's talking about.
Last year was a breakout, and he's already doing better than last year's breakout. This is
Breakout.
breakout. 10-10 game. Bear. I'll tell you what, you can catch the ball better than you can tell a good joke.
No question. Watch these two in tandem. This Chris Williams, and there's Dave Stala. One's going to come in and almost pick for Stala to sit down in the hole right behind him. Two receivers working in tandem together, and that 4-receiver package to the wide side of the field. Stala opens up because Chris Williams takes coverage with him.
Stala, though, 21 catches, 7 second down conversions, 6 touchdowns out of those 21. Incredible.
So a nice play in tandem, finish the drive.
hey, babe, for you.
I think he should keep his day job and not go into the stand-up comic routine, because
Unless he brought a football and did celebrations, because he's good at that.
hacky sack maybe.
joke?
But
No,
wait till I score.
no more
jokes.
Dave.
No more.
Thank you.
No more.
One,
Thank you.
the one with the bear with no teeth, a gummy bear.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No
Thanks.
more.
Thanks for that.
Knock, knock. Henry Burris back at the helm. Minute and a half to go. First quarter. Burris pump fake out back. Nicely done. Knocked out of bounds. Was Romby Bryant. Again, Burris had a lot of time to throw the football.
Take a look at this and see if Romby Bryant got that foot down, or was he just pushed right out of bounds. I don't think he was even pushed, and that right foot touches the white stripe. So that's another good call by the officials. Been on top of it in this game tonight. Thought the chemistry between Romby Bryant and Henry Burris was very good last week in Saskatchewan. He had 5 catches for 37 yards. That's a personal best for catches for him on the season.
Took a hellacious hit last week as well for Tristan Jackson. Burris, his back foot, what a throw. Landon Talley makes the catch. Talley playing in place of the injured Kenyon Rambo.
Was that ever a big hit? That was the big hit of not just this year. It was Tristan Jackson. It was in Saskatchewan. And you're going to follow Romby Bryant all the way across the field. Oh, man. And hung on to the football, got the first down, killed some more time on the clock, and got Calgary Stampeders a victory. And that's the first thing that John Hufnagel talked to the team about after the game.
Well, John Hufnagel talked about it, and so did the guy who threw him the football. Could not believe that Romby Bryant caught the ball and got back to the huddle.
Romby's a true warrior. He got up, came off the field. When he got to the sideline, he apologized. Sorry, Huff, I should have got up on my own steam and gotten off the field. And that just shows you the type of warrior he is. And even though he's sitting there hurt and, trying to get his breath back, he's still thinking about the team. So kudos to Romby.
And when I heard that, honestly, I just
Calgary.
I was shaking my head saying, wait a minute, he just gets rocked like that, and his first thought when he got up was, oh, I don't want to waste any time here because we're trying to, I got to get off the field. I don't want to give Saskatchewan a timeout, an injury timeout. So he goes back and apologizes for making the catch, getting the first down, and getting hit the way he apologizes to his teammates. Amazing.
You ever seen that show, Wipeout?
Yeah.
That was like, one of those people like running into one of those.
I'm a fan, by the way.
Yeah, but guess what? In Wipeout, you're not carrying a football.
Oh man.
And you're not getting hit by a guy with a helmet. And Romby Bryant got wiped out, but was able to hang on. Good on him.
As big a hit I've seen in the last 5 years.
2nd and 8 now. Stamps took a timeout. Final play, opening quarter. Far sideline in the sunshine again, and once again looking for Landon Tally. The tally after 1 quarter. Stampeders 10, Ticats 10 in McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Week number 6, sharing 2nd place in their respective conferences, and also the same record, 3-2, have had up and down starts and giving us what we kind of expected, a close football game.
It really is. The Calgary Stampeders with their passing yards. You see Henry Burris moves into 8th place, passing Tom Clements in that first quarter. Passing numbers good for Henry Burris at about 67%. Both these teams, though, Rod, need to get their running games going. The numbers low in the first quarter in the run game.
Especially Avon Coburn for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yes.
One of the reasons that he went to Hamilton and the Tiger Cats kind of salivated getting number 22 is the fact that they could establish a running game with one of the best in the game.
I know we talk about it a lot and how important that balance is, but it is, especially with Coburn, who had a big game. He had over 100 yards of yards from scrimmage against his former team, the Montreal Alouettes, a week ago. So his involvement is important. I know it's tempting, though, for Kevin Glenn with Calgary playing so much in-your-face bump and run coverage. They want to try and make the big play behind that.
Burke Dales, who leads the CFL in punting average. Pretty good kick inside the 10-yard line. They're going to spot it around the 6 or 7 yard line. And Burke Dales, a 52-yard boot. And the Stampeders also will have the wind in this quarter before halftime.
Yeah,
Long field.
The wind, they've just, because of that nice kick, I mean, almost perfect kick. Kevin Glenn backed up in the shadow of his goalpost. He's got about 50%. And sometimes against Calgary, against this style of D, your offensive numbers may not look that great, but it's about making those big plays, a couple of big plays behind that press coverage. But again, running game important to get Avon Coburn involved, especially down in this end of the field.
Twin backs for Glenn. And Avon Coburn, it's a nice block from Darcy Brown, which springs him off the right side, and it looks like he will move the sticks. He does. It's a first down. Good play call.
Well, on cue. I guess, that's the idea. And I know that Kahari Jones, the offensive coordinator, would have thought of that first quarter, decided, okay, yep, one guy we're forgetting is 22. Nice move in the open field there for Avon Coburn. A little shake and bake.
That's what he is capable of. So far this season, averaging 5.2 yards per carry. They give him the rock again. Over half the first down yardage. Picks up 7 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 3.
The other thing against playing Calgary, when you're playing Calgary offensively, the running game even can become more important. And the reason I say that is because when the secondary is up and pressed man-to-man, that means that you can run them off. They're going to have their back to the line of scrimmage, their back to the play. So if you hand the ball off and Avon Coburn can get into that second layer, get behind the linebacking core, the DBs can't help. They're running it with their receiver.
Will they go to the ground here or go to the air on 2nd and 3? To the air it is. Glenn, slant pattern, and tumbling over the 42-yard line is Aaron Kelly for his second catch. 18-yard pickup, former Clemson Tiger. Big body.
You're going to say slant pattern a bunch, and Rod, and that's because when you're playing against that press, look it up. You can either go straight down the field, try and do a swim move, and go right down the hash marks, or you can try and get inside quickly and run the slant. And we just talked about we're going to see a ton of that tonight from Hamilton.
Cats went with some size as well. Two of their freshman receivers, and Kelly 6'5", and Bakari Grant 6'4", something they've been missing the last couple of seasons. Glenn pocket sideline, and unable to come under it is Kelly. Watched closely by Keon Raymond.
And, you know, I had a good conversation last week with Jeff Tisdale, a former Hamilton Tiger Cat, now playing on the corner for Brandon Browner. And he said, we like that part about press. I know there's some people will say that, well, if you can just run the slant all game, well, why do they do it? Why do you press if you can just run that play and complete it every play? Well, Tisdale told me I'd rather dictate to the receiver what he's going to run. So I know now it's either a go route or a slant. He can't run the curls and the digs and things because it takes too long to get off the line of scrimmage.
Makes sense. Second down and 10. Deep drop. Kevin Glenn had to retreat quickly, and they were trying to get Avon Coburn out under cover for a little dump pass, but it didn't work.
It didn't work because Devon Claybrooks tackled him, and Avon Coburn can't believe it. And you know, sometimes this one slips by the officials because it's kind of right there in the mesh. There's offensive linemen, bodies flying everywhere. Devon Claybrooks just tackled Avon Coburn from behind. He was not available to Kevin Glenn.
The guy they call Biscuit, Devon Claybrooks. Justin Medlock. Bouncing punt down to Taylor, had nowhere to go inside the 23-yard line. 44-yard kick, no return, 10-10 game. Burris back to work in a flash.
Defense isn't nearly as aggressive as Jones is. He said that Jones likes to live on the edge on every play. He just isn't built that way. He, even when he was here in Calgary, said he would get nervous with some of the play calling because that's just not his style. But he is, though, going to have his hands full trying to get his defense going with this aggressive Calgary offense that's going right now. This has been an all-business trip for him. He said there's been no dinners, there's been no talking with the opposing coaches. This time, it's all about what's going on the field.
Well, his defense, which is much more aggressive than it has been in the past.
Yeah.
And Corey Chamblin, I think, is not giving himself enough credit, or maybe, you know, not playing that little poker game with Chris Jones right now.
Yeah, and you know, before the game, the old friends will get together. There's John Hufnagel talking to Corey Chamblin. He's going to go over and talk to Henry Burris, but no dinners. They're not going to get that, like Sarah said. They're not going to go and get buddy-buddy at all. And this is a business trip for him, and he knows it's same for Chris Jones. But that's a defense for Hamilton. Hasn't allowed a team over 300 yards passing all season.
Burkdale just got knocked down, almost had the kick blocked. Marcus Thigpen couldn't hurdle past a defender downfield. Very close to having that 52-yard kick blocked.
Here's a telestrator. You ever seen a guy circle? Said, yeah, and he wanted to try it. He had this thing figured out in about 30 seconds. It was, and he didn't want to leave the chair. I think I'm on work here.
Well, he's got a PlayStation. What a hit there. Brandon Smith on Chris Williams' far side. Starting to pump up the volume here.
Quick game for Kevin Glenn. A couple steps and he gets rid of it. But you're right. That's good form tackle by Brandon Smith on Chris Williams. And you better be square and wrap up Chris Williams. He's shown that he can make you miss. He's leader on this team in yak yards for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Yards after the catch. Not that time.
Second down and 2. Short yardage. The hand to Colburn. May have got 1. Let's see what the spot is. Had to get just beyond the 40-yard line. Looks like a pretty good spot here for the Tiger Cats. They'll likely, no, they're not going to measure. They're going to move those sticks. It is a first down for Hamilton.
Just barely, and just barely because right here the backup linebacker Darren Stone is going to shoot the gap and get Avon Coburn, but he just gets enough to get the first down.
Calgary had the early lead. Hamilton battles back. Bakari Grant tripped up right there by Keon Raymond. Nice tackle. This is kind of foreign territory right now for the Calgary Stampeders. First quarters, they get 10 points. They've had 11 points through the first 5 games in all of the first quarters combined.
Wow. Wow. You know, and there's Keon Raymond just made that tackle. Another good tackle in the open field. And what a warm-up routine that Keon Raymond has with Robert McCune. It is something to see.
You and I would never have a chance.
No, are you kidding me? I'd be exhausted by the end of that.
Out pattern. Nice catch made by Williams again. 4th reception on the night. And it will move the chains once again as the Hamilton Tiger Cats move close to Calgary territory.
Robert McCune getting a chance to play in the middle of that defense. Played the middle linebacker spot. He had 5 tackles last week, and he played the entire game. And his buddy is Keon Raymond.
First and 10. 3-man rush. Glenn with time. Oh, what a catch by Sticky Stalla.
Well, now what is that? Is that his 7th catch for a first down of 22 and his 6th touchdown? When you look at those numbers, what is it? About 70% of his catches are producing either a first down or a touchdown.
It's now 9 second down conversion catches.
Amazing. Money.
And Mr. Velcro hangs on again. First and 10. Colbert slicing back. Brought down by Justin Phillips.
Yeah, let's take a look at those numbers for Dave Stalla, because if you want to know about clutch, who's the receiver you go to when you need it the most? Clutch time. That was coming into tonight. 19 catches. He had 7 for first down. It's now 9. And he had 5 touchdowns, now 6.
Way to go, Gummy Bear.
That's money. That's clutch when you need it the most.
He has become one of the money receivers, if not the money receiver, in the CFL. Under 7 to go before halftime. Glenn again afforded some time. And another great catch by Aaron Kelly. Inside the 10-yard line, down to the 6. So much for rookie receivers not being able to fit in.
Taking 2 or 3 years to get comfortable. Not this group, not the group with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Chris Williams didn't take 3 years to get comfortable, and neither is Aaron Kelly. Just making plays. And you know what he does nice at the end of that? The top of the route, where the ball is about to arrive. Great composure and body control in the air.
So once again, the Ticats drive inside the red zone. First and goal. Coburn backfield takes the handoff. Avon Coburn with the touchdown. 6-yard major. 3rd is a Ticat. And the Cats have their first lead of this ball game.
And their leader up front, Hamilton Tiger Cats, on that offensive line is Marwan Hage, and that's exactly where Avon Coburn followed. He just went right behind big number 62, and watch the opening. You're going to see Malik Jackson slides. Devon Claybrook gets washed down by Peter Diakowski, and it's right at the goal line that Avon Coburn is touched first.
That's why Marwan Hage was the East Division most outstanding lineman last year. Medlock the point after. In a very quiet McMahon Stadium now. The Eastern Invaders have a 7-point advantage.
Well, he said it. O-line. 1 block on Malik Jackson, 1 block on Devon Claybrooks, and watch how these 2 offensive linemen are going to drive their feet right here, especially Peter Diakowski. Keep the feet moving. Keep moving Devon Claybrooks inside. He hits the gap. Touchdown, Avon Coburn.
Funky kickoff that time. Kwasi Atwi with the return, not a return man, but the ball was bouncing funny, and so he picked it up. And Calgary will now scrimmage at their 31-yard line. Here's Avon Coburn, and those numbers, and another touchdown for him. And now it's up to Henry Burris and this Calgary Stampeder offense that's been trying to shake out of some early season doldrums.
Well, yeah, we've had at times some numbers. I mean, Henry Burris threw for 372 against Edmonton and lost that game.
Firing far sideline. Robbie Bryant stepped out of bounds and did it right in front of an official and did right in front of another jury.
And you know what, Rod? That's the second time on long plays like that they've been just out of bounds. Robbie Bryant and Henry Burris. Play action to Joffrey Reynolds. The ball thrown to the outside shoulder. And just out of bounds again. That's the second time that I've circled a Robbie Bryant toe on the white paint.
If you're going to do that, never do that on the opposing bench, by the way, either.
Yeah.
Darcy Brown pointing right to it.
They will help the official, won't they?
Exactly. Second down, 10 yards to go. Rolling down again for Burris. Here comes the rush. And Lewis. He's another one of those guys on second down. We talk about clutch receivers. You'd have to put Nick Lewis's name right up there as Jabari Arthur is into it with Bo Smith.
You're right, and Nick Lewis is a guy who's averaging just shy of 6 catches per game this year. He's had a couple of 100-yard games, but when you 3 catches tonight, and when you talk about Dave Stala and the times when they needed the most this year, for sure it's been Nick Lewis, but it has been throughout his career. Certainly this year with Kenyon Rambo off to a real slow start, not playing tonight. Took some time to get some chemistry with Robbie Bryant. Nick Lewis.
First quarter, we saw it start to slow down a little bit. What's going to get it going in the third?
We just have to, in the first quarter, we had a couple of drop passes that kind of stalled our drives. You know, we had some penalties. So we just have to just execute on second down and try to stay, try to keep drives alive.
two passes, or one pass for you, 2 carries. For you, what is the ideal number of carries in a game?
I mean, I think any running back would want 20+ carries, but I just 15 or 20 is a good number for me. I feel like I can get in the rhythm of the game and see what the defense is doing.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Clever questioning from our intrepid reporter on the sideline, and you could see when his eyes light up that Joffrey Reynolds wants the rock.
Every running back does, as he said, and that's what Matt Dunnigan was talking about at halftime. Give it to Joffrey.
Calgary, Landon Talley took off before he had the football. He's going to pay for it. And it looks like he's banged up here. He's in a lot of pain. And it looks like it could be a stinger or shoulder injury of some sort, Landon Talley.
Yeah, they're looking under that left shoulder pad. You know what? He bobbled the kickoff, but he ran past the ball. And when he finally got it, now the Hamilton Tiger Cat tacklers were in, and it looked like his knee twisted as well. It didn't. They weren't looking at his knee.
It was Terrence Lee first, then Mark Beswick. Here's Lee. Maybe did he land on his? Oh, I don't know. Definitely looking in the shoulder area, aren't they?
Yeah, there's no question about it. And he's in a lot of pain. He's squirming back and forth. Nick Lewis in there helping him out, holding his hand while it looks like, you know, that would tell me that it's popped out.
Yeah.
That they're trying to hold his hand and say, go ahead and squeeze as hard as you want as we try to put this shoulder back in place for you.
Did you ever have that happen to you? Have you seen it happen to
No,
players?
I have seen it, and I've heard it.
Landon Talley again replacing Kenyon Rambo, who's on the sidelines in street clothes tonight. We'll get an update on his injury from Sarah. Here are the quarterbacks so far tonight. Good night for both.
Yeah, pretty close. It was the second quarter that Kevin Glenn started to catch up on Burris, who got off to a good start in the first.
Here's Joffrey. He does get the rock right away. Markeith Knowlton with the tackle.
His carries are down. There's no question. I remember last year talking to John Huffnagel about trying to take some of the workload off of Joffrey Reynolds' table.
And they do it again. They bring John Cornish in.
Yeah. That's how they did it last year. Last year, the formula was 2 series for Reynolds, 1 series for Cornish. That was play to play.
Burris changed the play there and now fires down the sideline. Ryan Hines, good play at the last moment to take it away from Robbie Bryant.
Ryan Hines has been tested in the last couple of games, and teams think they might try and get something on him, and he has been right there to answer the question as to whether or not they can beat this guy, because they go to the wide field, try and get that throw behind to Robbie Bryant. He's right there, looks back to the football and knocks it down. He's had 9 tackles in the last couple of games because he's been tested.
Second knockdown of the season for Ryan Hines. Burke Dales with that 45-yard average. Marcus Thigpen trying to kick it outside. Hit hard right there by Brandon Isaac. 20-10, the Ticats lead their first offensive series in a moment.
And you can get like 10, 15, maybe 20 grand right there.
Right on. Good luck, all who play. Avon Coburn right side now. Another big game for Coburn, who's out rushing Joffrey Reynolds tonight. So are the Tiger Cats, but there's a penalty flag. It's a holding call. This is going to be negated.
Holding. Hamilton number 65. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
12-yard run, 10-yard penalty.
Simeon Rotier at right guard on Robert McCune. And And sometimes that's what you have to do with Robert McCune at middle linebacker.
The guy is a beast.
Is he ever?
He may have one of the best physiques as well in the CFL. And he works at it. Guy who comes out of the military, as a matter of fact. Three-man rush. And almost picked off, looking for Marcus Thigpen. Jeff Tisdale, the former Cat, right there. Well, there he is, the phenom.
Talked about that pregame ritual with Keon Raymond. And it starts out with some nice, easy stretching exercises, but the intensity starts to build. They start going. This is a process that takes some time now, and then it gets to that. The explosion of a guy who's lying on his stomach, gets up, hustles down the field. You think he's put together? 6 foot, 240.
Bone muscle.
A good 240.
Another diving, lunging catch. And the official for Glenn McKay is saying it is a catch, 7 yards. It's his first of the season. Glenn McKay getting a chance to play again with Matt Carter on the shelf.
Yeah, Matt Carter injured, and McKay picks up. He'll be well short, and Hamilton will have to punt due to the holding call out of the gate.
Justin Medlock, great field goal kicker. His weakness maybe his punting, but not by much. There's a no yards call right there. Larry Taylor, who scored the only touchdown for the Stampeders tonight. It came in the first quarter when they had the lead. They trail right now by 7. It's 20-13 Hamilton in Calgary. They trail by 7. We'll see if the numbers play out here tonight. Hamilton has largely been a first-half team this season. The Stampeders a second-half team. Play action. Out of the backfield is Cornish. What a block by Nick Lewis. John Cornish is sprung and finally brought down by free safety Daniel Francis. I guess it gets repetitive when you say great block by Nick Lewis.
Yeah, he's going to do that down the field. He will sacrifice himself. John Cornish takes advantage of a little crossbuck action here. There's Larry Taylor. He goes that direction, and coming out the opposite way is John Cornish.
Major foul, horse collar tackle, Hamilton number 19.
They'll tack on some more.
First down.
On the horse collar tackle by Daniel Francis.
A net of 51 yards plus the penalty. Ray Williams gets dusted on the block by Nick Lewis.
With Landon Talley out, we may see some more Larry Taylor in that backfield. Doesn't look like Sarah Oleski is reporting that doesn't look like Landon Talley will return.
Did not look good for him. Now close to the red zone. First and 10. Burris. Little dump pass now, but it was a little short for a crossing Romby Bryant as the Ticats were bringing some heat.
I mentioned early on that Ticats are bringing heat, and sometimes when they do that, they'll move Stevie Baggs. One of the reasons that his numbers are a little bit down is they'll move him back inside now. He's not coming off the edge where he's familiar and he can go and make his moves. He's down there in that mix, sort of spying to see if Henry Burris will run out of there. Well, you can't sack the quarterback when that's your responsibility.
Baggs on the edge again. Key second down conversion now for the Stampeders. Touchdown to Todd. Joffrey Reynolds. The rainbow toss to him. Reynolds bashes down close to the first down. It was a little flip pass from Henry Burris, a 9-yard pickup.
Yeah, and a little flip pass is really, it's just a glorified running play. It's just a little bit of an extension on it on the running play here, like a toss sweep. And with Daniel Francis, the safety, up on the line of scrimmage, coming on the blitz, they just get Joffrey Reynolds outside of Francis, and now he has leverage.
They'll bring out the sticks here. You mentioned Francis. The Hamilton Tiger Cats have Francis at free safety right now. Jason Shivers, normally the free safety, has moved over to play halfback. That's all because of Carlos Thomas not being able to play this week.
Appendectomy.
Yeah.
And it was an emergency deal that they had to get him out of his department. They were trying to find which hospital he was in. They rushed him to the hospital and took care of it. So that's why Daniel Francis, we talked about a couple of times, moving to that safety spot. There's Jason Shivers. He moves to halfback.
So it's going to be 3rd down. Looks like about a half yard, 3/4 of a yard. John Huffnagel got the Sharpie in his teeth here. And the Stampeders are going for it. Once again, Drew Tate will come behind center. Goes forward. 1st down.
It's interesting. This has been a clean game. An absolute clean game offensively. I mean, Dave Moyer, our statistician, has on his sheet here fumbles lost, interceptions by teams, sacks, things like that. Blanks.
It's a rarity. You don't see that very often.
You don't see
heading
it.
into a 3rd quarter.
An absolute clean game. These quarterbacks are being efficient. They're moving the football. They're not being sloppy. No interceptions. Good protection up front. Like the panel talked about at halftime, it's been a good offensive showing tonight.
Morris now trying to find the end zone. Throws to it. Looking for Johnny Forzani, yet to get his first CFL touchdown.
But that's a good example there, Rod, of exactly what we're talking about. A clean game because Burris saw Forzani on that out, but the coverage was pretty close on the outside, so he throws it outside. So if Forzani makes a spectacular diving catch, then they've got a chance for a score. But if not, he's not going to allow Ryan Hines into the play. So he throws it right out there to the boundary. If Forzani can get to it, good. If not, no big deal, no interception.
Double tight end, double tight end.
Looking right. End zone again. Bryant wants a flag. He gets one. You ask, you shall receive. And it's Shivers, the perpetrator.
Yeah, and I think this is pass interference, Rod, but I don't think Shivers meant to do it. I mean, he didn't grab.
Forward pass interference. Hamilton number 2. Ball spotted on the 1-yard line. 1st down.
Romney Bryant lines up at that inside slot position. Little grab there. I think they let that go, but you see the push. He had both hands on the 8 and the 3. Pushed Romney Bryant forward. Burris saw it. Tried to help the official who finally made the call. I don't think it was a real flagrant one, but it was pass interference.
Drew Tate again on the 1-yard line after the penalty. Reynolds, touchdown.
Rambo likes it.
Joffrey Reynolds gets the ball like the guys said. Give it to him. From 1 yard out, it's almost automatic for Joffrey Reynolds.
Yeah, no question. And you know, it's a sometimes a gamble when the running back leaves his feet. But when you're Joffrey Reynolds, your instincts take over and you know when to do it and when not to do it. And that was the time to do it. He goes airborne. Put your tables and trays in the upright and locked position, and away he goes.
7 plays, 74-yard touchdown drive, aided by a couple of penalties. Horse collar, and then the penalty interference call, and then the leap by Joffrey Reynolds. Why not? All tied again at 20. 20-20 here in McMahon.
This evening, and it's been a bit of a slow start for Joffrey. He hasn't been getting the touches that he's used to. He was averaging last season 12 carries per game. This season so far, he's down to 9 games, and although down to 9 carries. And although Joffrey isn't one to complain and take his opinions to the media, he was quoted in the paper earlier this week as saying, "I do know when we've won the type of role I've played. When that doesn't happen and we lose, it's in the forefront of your mind." He's made some key receptions this evening to set up touchdowns and also get the touchdown to tie the game.
Marcus Thigpen spins on the return. A up near the 30-yard line. So Kevin Glenn and the quarterbacks continue this perfect night that you're talking about. And Joffrey Reynolds also marching up the all-time rushing leader list.
29 yards to go to pass
the Clipper.
Yep. Kwong. And you know what? Sarah's bang on. I mean, his rushes are down. His rushes are down again tonight. He has caught a couple. He got that touchdown down the goal line. Needs that 29 yards, as Matt Dunnigan was talking about. Give him the ball and let's get that. Move him up that way.
Play action. Look out. Oh, man. Chris Williams.
Meet Demetrius Morley.
Hello. See that coming a mile away.
Comes all the way across the formation from the short side. But Demetrius Morley, who comes up from that safety spot, he saw it. He saw that from the beginning of it, and he just lowers the boom. Into Tennessee.
First year Stampeders free safety. Glenn, loads of time. Now downfield and incomplete pass. Williams thought he was pushed. Malik Jackson.
He covered a lot of ground.
Did he ever?
Yeah. I mean, that's a linebacker in Malik Jackson turning and running to get underneath help to Brandon Smith, who's chasing over the top. Look at where Malik Jackson starts this play. He's only about 4 yards from the line of scrimmage. He opens up, he gets underneath a deep route, and then catches up and is right there to help Brandon Smith out. That's a linebacker that can run. Quiet start statistically for Malik Jackson.
Aaron Stone.
Is this another shoulder?
Yeah, looks like it could be. Backup linebacker Darren Stone. And here he is with Dave Stala.
Well, he did that on his own. He took off. He started in his stance and he went right to that shoulder with the opposite hand. That was before he made contact with Stala.
The dangerous Larry Taylor back. Good kick. Medlock. Taylor now looking for some room. There he goes up near the 50. Good field position for Henry Burris and his offense. Coming off a touchdown drive. The game is tied at 20. Sacks so far. They had 46 sacks last season, second in the league. Bad snap. Burris lets it fly, though. Head over heels goes Jabari Arthur.
Well, we're going to have to show you another look at that one at a little different angle, just because I'm sure Sports Center back in Toronto would like to look at this one. First of all, he dribbles it back. And then these are one of those pretty ones, gets on the highlights.
Whoa.
Up and over.
Jabari Arthur early in this game, if you're just joining us, laid out, looked like he made a spectacular catch for a touchdown in the end zone. But a challenge flag was thrown. And the call is over. Another bad snap, 2 in a row. Burris hangs on and then throws it into the first row. Back-to-back snap issues.
Well, the first one dribbled back. The second one almost over the head of Henry Burris. He to save the loss with Justin Hickman tracking him down, throws it out of bounds.
John Cornish.
Well, John Cornish just gets his limited opportunities, and that was one of them. And Tim O'Neill missed Burris and took that opportunity away.
Big boot. Burke Dales will bounce through the end zone for a single point. And the Stampeders will regain the lead on a 75-yard punt from Burke Dales. TSN Radio 1050, the evolution of sports radio, is here for a full recap of this weekend's CFL action. Check out Football Sunday with Mike Hogan and Chris Schultz, 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. Eastern. That's tomorrow, live on TSN Radio 1050 in Toronto, nationally online at tsn.ca or on the TSN mobile apps. 1 point, Stampeder lead. That point could be a big point down the road here. Lots of time, 6 minutes left in the third quarter.
But you get the feeling in this game, a game that's been clean, absolutely clean offensively. No turnovers, no sacks, no fumbles, no interceptions. It'll be that turnover that'll be the difference. It'll be that one time when a DB jumps the throw, gets that pick, grabs all the momentum, and finishes this game. And you just get that feeling in a clean game. That's how it's going to change.
Clean game and close game, something the Calgary Stampeders have played a lot of. In fact, all of their 5 games have been very close so far this season. Looking for their first win at home in 2011. Glenn was in trouble and he had to throw it away.
Keon Raymond coverage there and took away the screen, but here are the Calgary close games, and you're right, 5 points the most, and that was July 23rd against Edmonton, and loss here in Calgary. First time 5 games decided by 5 points or less ever for Calgary to start the season, which in the long run will bode well for the Calgary Stampeders. In fact, a couple of things will.
Headlock again. Booming kick. Taylor. Outside now. Look out. There he goes. Larry Taylor to his 40. To midfield. And Larry Taylor, who has struggled returning punts this season, lights one up here.
And there are no flags. All the way to the numbers for Larry Taylor, a wide field return, and now he just has to get up the field, pull in those cover guys so that he can give his blockers some angles, and then he gets out with an escort right down the sideline.
Larry Taylor, 45-yard return to the Hamilton 46-yard line. Plows his way inside the 40. 8-yard pickup. Taylor, of course, the former Alouette, a CFL All-Star back 2 years ago, and the most outstanding special teams player in the league then.
3rd in all-purpose yards coming into tonight, over 600.
But again, before tonight, his last 9 punt returns, an average of 5.7 yards. So special teams really converging on him, but not that time. Reynolds, first down. And you get a feeling as Joffrey Reynolds starts getting more touches here, the momentum starting to surge towards Calgary's side.
They are starting to get him more involved. And, you know, when he's touched the football, whether it be through these little dump passes or in the run game, very, very productive tonight. $70 yards for Joffrey Reynolds. 30 along the ground, 40 through the air.
This time he's stopped.
That's Jamal Johnson, who we haven't talked about much in this game tonight. And
usually you mention his name about 10, 15 times by now.
4 or 5, yeah, you're right. And he's the guy who comes into this game tonight. He was tied with Solomon Elimimian for the BC Lions in tackles, leading the league. Now, Elimimian last night had 12. So
we got a lot of work to do to
Jamal Johnson's got a long way to go to catch up in just one night.
2nd down and 9. Burns swings it out again. Joffrey again, and JR is stopped right there, and it's Jamal Johnson and Ray Williams, the linebackers tag team. Joffrey Reynolds, and that will bring out the field goal unit.
They were 31 all to start this week of games. Solomon Elamimian with 12 jumps to 43. Jonathan Hefney, he had a big night as well to get into second place. So Jamal Johnson, now we'll have to see by the end of tonight how far he climbs up that ladder. You think back to 09, he had 108 tackles. In 2010, 101, and on pace for 111, a personal best this year.
El Matador, Rene Paredes puts it through. The lead is now 4 points for the Calgary Stampeders, a 3 of 3 night for the Venezuelan-born kicker. TSN brings you live coverage of the 93rd PGA Championship from the Atlanta Athletic Club in Jones Creek, Georgia. Action tees off Thursday, 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TSN, TSN Mobile TV. 2.5 to go, third quarter. Hamilton Tiger Cats riding a 3-game win streak coming into Cowtown. And a 20-13 lead. It's evaporated. Glenn goes the other way. And Aaron Kelly got hit hard and knocked out of bounds.
You know, I think if you're the Hamilton Tiger Cats, that was a win to grab a little momentum back, because after the Larry Taylor return, it would have been easy for Marcel Belfay's troops to just have a lull there, a little bit of a letdown emotionally, and have Henry Burris put a major on the board. He doesn't. They settle for a field goal. That's basically a win after a big return like that.
There's offensive coordinator Kahari Jones. Second down, 3 yards to go. Coburn's in the backfield. Glenn's in the shotgun. Coburn takes it, head down, nowhere to go.
McCune.
The beast. 1 yard gain.
And they're going to have to punt because of it. You mentioned his military background. He was served in the National Guard in both Korea, Kuwait, well, all three, and Afghanistan. And 6 months there in Afghanistan, the National Guard in the U.S. And, you know, when you see Robert McCune, he gets off a helicopter. I'm laying down all arms.
Yes, football's a holiday for him. Ball bounces back and out of bounds.
That's a big stop. That's a big stop because it keeps the Calgary Stampeders field position advantage after the Larry Taylor return. Kevin Glenn didn't necessarily need to score or even get a field goal to match that one after the Taylor return.
In the air. Holding. Calgary number 37.
Well, that's going to hurt him.
10-yard penalty. First down.
Just as I say that, the penalty is now going to take away that field position.
Yeah, advantageous field position again for Burris to the 40-yard line. We'll go now back to the 30-yard line with 1:24 remaining in this third quarter. It was turned into a clean game. Again, no turnovers. Well-played game, and two teams came into week 6 in second place in their respective divisions. 2, 3, and 2s. Good football game here tonight. There's Nick Lewis again.
Really is. I mean, it's a great strategic game. Fourth catch for Nick Lewis, and ball security has been outstanding tonight. There's been some penalties back and forth, some pass interference calls both ways. Calgary's had a few of those. Dave Dickinson, the offensive coordinator now, he's going to get into that. He says it's all gut feel. He's gone a little bit more to Joffrey Reynolds in this third quarter.
You know, as Joffrey was chatting,
Timeout, Calgary.
Sarah Orleski, you know, we talk about adjustments that were being made in Calgary. I'm sure John Huffnagel talked about putting a little more heat on Kevin Glenn. They haven't been able to get to him, and I'm sure he talked with his coaching staff. Let's try to spring number 21. Joffrey Reynolds is a game breaker, a game changer.
And eliminate penalties.
Eliminate penalties.
One day I'm going to ask Coach John Hufnagel what he writes down on that chart.
What are you thinking? First and 10 after the timeout. And again, Javante Arthur's getting a lot of touches here tonight.
Actually, just maybe to keep track of plays that he likes and plays that he doesn't, you know, because after every single play, he goes down and makes a little note. And his backup quarterbacks are guys that will track the plays and actually write down exactly what play was called and what the production on that play was, and whether that's Drew Tate or Brad Sinopoli. Those guys will usually help out with that so that they can match that up with the film the next day. But Hufnagel will make that little note after every single play.
Javante Arthur, 2 catches tonight. Had 2 on the season before tonight. And on the far side, it's Anthony Parker. First-round draft pick, 3rd overall. Calgary Dino star. Final play, 3rd quarter. Anthony Parker, the Calgary Dino, his dad, of course, played in the CFL. That was his first CFL catch. John Cornish fighting his way. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th effort. Daniel Francis finally has to bring him down on 2nd down.
And Henry Burris went in there and tried to get a block. And then he started joking around with whoever he was trying to block, because he saw that Cornish, his running back, kept working at it. And as he kept working at it and kept kind of getting back to where Henry Burris had gone on the play fake, here he comes. Burris trying to make a block right there on Ryan Hines. He's like, okay, now you know what?
I don't normally do this
This is
stuff.
not what I normally do.
No.
I'll go back and do what I do.
Smiling Hank. Drive continues. Cornish this time out of the backfield. Slicing. Close to the first down again. 8-yard pickup for John Cornish.
This is a play that Calgary is going to the well a bunch, and it's just to get outside. Look at the lineup of Jamal Johnson inside here. See how far inside of Justin Hickman he is, and he drops straight back from there. So this is something that Dave Dickinson has seen, and he has now made the adjustment. We've seen Joffrey Reynolds do that a ton. Just a little swing pass outside to get leverage. Outside leverage on these linebackers who are dropping straight back right now.
40 foot.
Joffrey Reynolds is in the backfield on 2nd down. Stopped. Ray Williams said no way. Jamal Johnson in there. Bo Smith. So it'll be a 3rd down play here. And I don't even know if he might have gained a couple of inches, if anything.
Bo Smith made the play. Bo Smith came off the edge, and he made Henry Burris commit quickly. Because if Henry Burris waited a split second more there, he would have pulled it, and he would have had the corner and an easy 1st down. As Bo Smith came off the edge here, watch him come off the edge, and now this is the ride in the side. And Bo Smith, a little step up field. Henry Burris gave it to his running back, should have kept it.
So back to the kid, Rene Paredes. This will come from the 41. Brad Sinopoli with the hold. Is wide. Will go through for a single point, his first miss of the night, and the lead is now 5 points. 25-20 Calgary in the 4th. Weeks in this season.
Hey, buddy, if you win that contest, you got something. You are smart.
We're calling you. We are calling you for some live numbers.
I'm buying you a Vegas ticket.
There you go. There's a penalty flag as Kevin Glenn threw the football. Devon Claybrooks was hovering. And it looks like that penalty goes against Claybrooks.
And Kevin Glenn is trying to regroup.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Calgary number 95. 15-yard penalty. 1st down.
Another penalty here, 15-yarder.
Devon Claybrooks isn't sure why. He's right in front of Malik Jackson. Off the edge, spin move inside. Well, he went low. He went below the knee, that's why. And the defensive end, or the defensive player, has got to be in control. Even if he gets pushed, he's got to stay above the knees.
And for about the 140th time this season, the helmet comes off. And right there, stopped in the backfield, is Robert McCune. And J. Michael Dean actually made the tackle. J. Michael Dean, not bad for a guy who was an offensive lineman coming into tonight.
Yeah, he shoots the gap. And he's getting more and more playing time. This is an experiment that John Hufnagel tried to get to and get a little rotation in his defensive line, and it's starting to pay off.
Hitting Alberta-born J. Michael Dean. We're up in the Toronto area. For Bakari Grant. In no way, says Jeff Tisdale. In that matchup tonight, Tisdale's won more often than not.
Because he knows what the receiver's going to do, and he'll take that fade every time. He loves it. He says the quarterback has got to be perfect. And that's the third time I've seen tonight. He looks back to the ball. The third time they've tried it. The third time he's been in perfect position. And the third incompletion.
Let's see if Justin Medlock keeps this away from Larry Taylor. And he will. Johnny Forzani picking his way up to the 28. Calgary leads by 5.
Shop at Safeways like you're
at home from the win column.
Calgary hasn't been 0-3 to start the season at home since 2004. It's only happened one other time since '87. But they are 5-1 in the last 6 against Hamilton, and they're 30-9 against Hamilton at home all time. So they want to break that. Maybe tonight's the night.
Burris somehow got that away for Robbie Bryant. A couple of nice moves.
And that pocket really collapsed around him, and he somehow threw it around the defenders to get it to Robbie Bryant. And that was the same play, by the way. We showed you the big hit last week on Robbie Bryant. That was exactly the same play. See the pocket start to collapse. He had to throw it around his own offensive lineman. I believe it was Dimitri Sumpas. And that's not easy. To really wrap your arm around a big body there.
No Tristan Jackson in his way this week. Second down and 4 yards to go. Stampeders took both games from Hamilton last year. Reynolds. And diving forward. May have just been able to move the chains. Jason Shivers missed him.
And Shivers is down. He's still not got up. It was Joffrey Reynolds in a race to get the edge. First on Stevie Baggs, and then Shivers coming in late.
And there's some concern down there.
Well, they've already had to juggle. You mentioned the change, moving Daniel Francis to safety and Jason Shivers, who's been safety for 5 weeks, to the halfback spot.
Here is what happened to Jason Shivers.
Right at your screen.
Just landed awkwardly. Well, he's getting up.
It also gave the officials a chance to go ahead and measure that. And I think they will be just short by a couple of the lengths of that chain.
Drew Tate coming in. He's been the third down guy, plunge guy. And another third down play. 3rd and inches for John Hufnagel and the Stampeders.
Do you remember calling a game that had no turnovers?
No, I cannot recall that blank sheet that we. Never mind no turnovers, but also the
no sacks. Yeah.
We have had a lot of penalties. But it's, you know, it hasn't even been close to a turnover. Beyond the Landon Talley kind of bobbling it. No real dangerous balls thrown close where a guy almost had it in his mitts.
Yeah, where a defender had a chance and dropped it. You see that, you know, at least a couple of times a game.
First down, number 1 comes back in.
That's full credit, though, to these quarterbacks. I mean, Henry Burris has been tremendous ball security for him tonight, as well as Kevin Glenn, and also credit to the coordinators. We've got 45 points on the board, although they haven't been finishing drives in the second half like they did in the first. A tremendous ball security tonight. That usually, when we say it and we emphasize it as much as we've had, Rod, that usually means cue a turnover.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you talked about the points. Under John Huffnagel and his regime, when the Stampeders score at least 20 points or more, they're 38-12-1. When they score less than 20, their record not so good.
1-7.
And a team that has suddenly had to play a lot of close encounter games. But they're okay, according to Jeff Tisdale.
We want to win by more. We know that, but I mean, the close games, they reveal their character. That's one thing they do, reveal this character. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure later on in the season we're gonna have some tougher games. You know, we're gonna really have to pull it out. But I mean, I think it's a good thing we're starting off right now with this tough. You know, hopefully it starts to pick up as the season go on. But at least we know how to get through these tough times right now.
Stamps move the football. Burris looking for Bryant. Comes back and drops it. Looks like he turned around and had a chance at it. A deep shot by Henry Burris.
Ryan Hines is in pretty good position on this corner, and Robbie Bryant has a chance at it. I don't think that the slide protection to the right, good time to throw for Burris. I mean, can you throw it any better? That's right in between the 8 and the 3. Now, Bryant did have to turn back the other way. That's because of the position of Ryan Hines. That's just a drop.
Second down conversion time. Need 10. They got 10. Nick Lewis takes a lick from Jamal Johnson, his 5th catch of the night.
No drop there.
No drop. Typical Nick Lewis fashion. Let's listen in. Hit supplied by Daniel Francis. Nick Lewis hangs on, ball right at the midfield stripe. Drive continues.
There's receivers that try and avoid hits like that. I think Nick Lewis goes looking for them.
No snaps again. Whoa, quick hitch.
That was an outside curveball.
It was.
Was that Robbie Bryant that snagged that one and pulled it in?
6th catch for Rombie.
And that makes amends. I mean, it wasn't the big deep corner that he drops, but that one was a fastball to the outside, curving away from the plate. Robbie Bryant snagged it. But you talk about those close games, and the Calgary Stampeders do build character by it. You get more comfortable with it. You're not rattled when it gets close and it's the time ticking down in the 4th quarter.
Stevie Baggs, Ryan Hines in on the tackle. And they just miss getting to Henry Burris in the backfield. Robbie Bryant this season.
It has taken him some time. In the first couple of games, Henry Burris just flat out missed him a couple of times. A couple of times he broke off routes. When Burris was throwing it one way in the zig, he was running the zag, and they slowly started to get back on the same page. I thought last week in Regina, their timing was outstanding with 5 catches in that one.
3rd down. The Reynolds was stopped short. Burnt Dales. It's been outstanding tonight, hunting the football. This one, Coffin corner inside the 1-yard line. There is a penalty flag down at the 40-yard line, a 48-yard kick.
Let's see what this penalty is, but remember when Burt Dales hit one that was inside the 6? I said that was the perfect kick. Well, he just bettered it.
Holding. Hamilton number 45. Ball will be spotted on the 1-yard line. First down.
Last night in Winnipeg, Damon Duvall had a kick similar, but it bounded. That was even better as far as the Coffin corner goes. Hunters don't get that much recognition too often. This time, Burt Dales deserves it.
Second half though in a big way.
The longest field you can imagine, 109 yards now. Making the catch, though, is Aaron Kelly. You saw the line as well, Stellar Stala.
Yeah.
We have not heard from Stellar Stala in the second half, and that has a lot to do with the ineffectiveness of Kevin Glenn in this second half.
Yeah, no catches for Stala and 4 for 7 for 20 yards in the second half for Kevin Glenn passing. It's just this offense has bogged down completely. They've played that press coverage defensively, Calgary has. That's forced Kevin Glenn to try those fade routes. They haven't been successful with them. They got to get back to their original game plan.
Dodgers one to the sidelines, finds his outlet, and it's Avon Colburn. Steps out near the 20-yard line. 9-yard pickup.
And that should be... That's Avon Colburn coming out of the backfield to secure the catch and put himself and put his offense in manageable situations. Now they've gone back and focused on first down production. Kahari Jones saying, look, get 7 or 8. Don't worry about those fade routes and don't worry about changing the play just because you see press coverage. Kahari Jones now says, go ahead and run the offense, get production on first down, 7 or 8 yards. We need to put some first downs together here. That's what he's saying.
Quentin Porter comes in. Looked like some confusion there. They're trying to bring their personnel in. It's 2nd and 2 yards to go. Porter will hand this off to Colburn. Finds a hole. Straight arms, Demetrius Morley. Avon Colburn. With an 11-yard second down play.
Why they put Quentin Porter in too on second down and 2 or 3 yards, that he can run that option play very well also, which means he's going down the line of scrimmage with the option either pitch it to Colburn or go ahead and run it himself. That time he just gave it to Avon Colburn over the backfield, but he has that option as well. It's a very effective play for them.
61 yards on the ground for Avon Colburn. Back to him. Into the cluster of red jerseys.
Clearly that's the focus. First down success. Get back to it. Because what happens on those fade routes, when the offense breaks the huddle and they see defensive backs climbing up on their receivers like that, they go to an automatic. Chris Jones would say, we're going to put him up there, and if you go to the automatic and try to run all goes, we like our chances. We'll get our defense off the field. Kevin Glenn's not doing that on this drive. He's not changing the plays.
It's been a masterful defensive game from both sides. Glenn decides to go this time. Unable to run under it is Aaron Kelly. Demetrius Morley in the vicinity, as well as Brandon Isaac.
Demetrius Morley in the first preseason game for Calgary had 2 interceptions, almost a third, and he should have had his first in the regular season for the Calgary Stampeders there. He just sort of faded away from that one. And maybe Aaron Kelly saves the day for Hamilton.
Might have been the first pick of the game. Medlock can't keep it away from Taylor this time. Gathers it in. Penalty flag. It's a no yards call.
That's a 15-yarder too. He got it in the air.
Which will give Calgary very good field position with a 5-point lead with 4:20 to go here.
304 yards passing for Henry Burrs.
Hamilton number 3. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Now that's the second time in 3 games that Burrs has been over 300 yards. I mentioned that Edmonton game. He had 372. Lost that one. 255 last week against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Not throw a touchdown in that game, so his numbers up there again. Can he finish this one off?
Sings one out to Jabari Arthur's getting a lot of action here tonight.
No Kenyon Rambo, no Landon Talley to come in and replace him. He was injured early on, so Jabari Arthur gets some more time. We saw a little Anthony Barker in the lineup as well. And Larry Taylor coming out of the backfield, but also can play as that import receiver. So with Kenyon Rambo without his gear on, and that's Landon Talley, he has taken his shoulder pads off and now has ice on that shoulder.
Second down and 6. Peters missed.
No.
For Joffrey Reynolds. Matt Schwitz now. John Huffnagle, Stampeders. Chris Jones, the defensive guru on the other side. And Arthur, make that Lewis down inside the 30-yard line and force a field goal and give themselves a shot. Cornish, but Burris hangs on to it. Henry Burris inside the 5-yard line. Henry Burris pulls it back, fools everyone. Scampers close to the goal line. Chance to put this one away with just over a minute to go.
Cats got to try and rip the ball out here.
Cornish, touchdown! And that may just turn out the lights. Stampeders have finally got their home win they were looking for. The 3-game win streak comes to an end for the Ticats. Lean game for the Stampeders. Home cooking finally good. Good night, everybody, from McMahon Stadium in Calgary.